This video is going to be a follow-up to a video that I put out last week claiming that Lamar Jackson and Todd Monken and the Ravens offensive coaching staff's first task, their biggest task, is going to be improving the passing game as it relates to dealing with two high safety structures, specifically split field coverages that you see from a lot of the good defenses across the NFL and college football, and it's even trickled down to the high school level. Talking about the Bengals, the Bills, to a lesser extent the Broncos. Even the Ravens did see them in 2021 and 2022, and a lot of two high safety structures. The Panthers had, I think, 6 examples of what I would call split field coverages in the Ravens' win in 2022 in Baltimore in the regular season. Even hearkening back to the Titans' playoff win after the 2019 season, you saw some examples of two high safety structure, but the Titans were very multiple. In my opinion, the team that really laid the groundwork, or the blueprint, I should say, for how to defend and defeat Greg Roman's offense from a two high safety structure was the Buffalo Bills in the Ravens' 2020 playoff loss after the 2020 regular season, holding the Ravens to 3 points. I know that Justin Tucker missed 2 field goals. Lamar threw a pick 6 down in the end zone, so the Ravens very easily could have had 14, 17, maybe even 20 points, depending on how you want to look at it. Point is, the two high safety structure has constricted the passing lanes, made the Greg Roman staple pass concepts relatively ineffective or at the least inconsistent, and been able to slow down or even stop the run game from that two high safety look. It's a misnomer that teams were in an 8-man front all the time against the Ravens. Now, in 2022, when the Ravens had 22 personnel on the field, so a tailback, Pat Ricard, Oliver, Andrews, and sometimes likely interchangeably with Oliver or Andrews, and only one receiver, of course you were getting an 8-man front. But in a lot of cases, to be honest with you, some of the teams I mentioned, including the Bengals, were in a two high safety look. This video is going to have 2 parts to it, and I'm going to try to persuade you that Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson, and the offensive coaching staff, they're going to have to figure out a way to retain the efficiency of the running game and attack third-level defenders in a two high safety structure. So the first part is going to be generally one high safety looks, where you're going to see cover 3 or man free from the defense, and Greg Roman and the offense attacking it in 2 distinct ways, 2 separate ways. And I'll try to explain those, and there are plays that I've gone over, but from 2020, 2021, and then some from 2022, and how the Ravens were able to threaten or put third-level defenders in conflict in that one high safety structure. And then the second part of the video is going to be the flip side, in which in my opinion, compared to other offenses across the NFL, the Ravens did not have answers to attack a two high safety structure with the pass game. Sure, there's going to be some examples from the Buffalo playoff loss in 2020 or early 2021 after the 2020 regular season. There's going to be examples of the Ravens running the ball. They ran the ball down the Bills' throat the first 2 possessions, but once they got down into near the red zone or just outside of it, they were constricted. The field was too small. It's my opinion, and you may disagree, and that's fine. The 8-man front was not what the Ravens had trouble with previously. It was two high safety looks, quarters, split field coverages, in some cases what people call quarter half. And one of the ones I think they've had the most trouble with is what I call 2 read and some people call palms. I view those 2 things interchangeably. I understand that some people don't. So as we get into this, I just want to preface the first part. These are going to be times where I believe the Ravens are attacking a one high safety look efficiently and giving Lamar reads, giving the receivers reads and ways to get open, and helping the Ravens move the football quite easily against a one high safety look. This is a classic way that the Ravens attack a corner, who I'm calling the third-level defender. You're going to see at least the first 4 or 5 plays are going to be conceptually similar to this. You're going to get a flat route by Devin Duvernay, and that corner's going to take it, even though he's got cover 3. He should be in deep thirds. And then Josh Oliver's going to run over the top of it. Free safety jumps Mark Andrews over route. Easy completion to Josh Oliver for a big gain. I believe this is supposed to be cover 3, where you got deep thirds, deep middle thirds, deep thirds. But Josh Allen, the outside linebacker, DN, very talented, ends up running with Josh Oliver And then this corner takes the flat route by Duvernay, kind of switching it over there. I don't believe that's something they did a lot of, even though Josh Allen doesn't do a bad job of it if he just turns and goes. My point is they're baiting the corner into coming up sooner or further than he should be in a cover 3 relationship, and then throwing the ball over top of him into that vacated space. You're going to see another example of it, actually, too, from 2021. This is a great throw here. Again, they're putting the corner to the top side of the screen in conflict. You can see it's a one high safety look. How are they putting them in conflict? Pat Ricard is going to chip the D end and then slide out into the flats. Additionally, after the play action fake, I think Latavius Murray goes out into the flats, and they draw that corner up, and then the climb route by Sammy Watkins goes into that vacated area. Look, it's not a bad job by the inside linebacker. I can't remember how to pronounce his name, 44. It's not a bad job in coverage by him, being as it's a receiver who lined up like 11 yards away from him pre-snap. You'll get the end zone angle to see, how difficult of a throw it was for Lamar. I mean, Sammy Watkins is obviously open. This is how Greg Roman and the Ravens offensive staff attacked cover 3. One of the ways they would throw over the top of the corner who vacates that area. Conceptually, it's just giving him something in front of him to deal with and then throwing it over the top into the vacated space where presumably he would be in a cover 3 relationship. By the way, I think that was Trayvon Mullen covering Patrick Ricard out into the flats. Same thing here, except now they're going to be attacking Mullen again on the downside of the screen. Got a one high safety structure, trips to the top side of the screen. And you're going to get what I would say is an over route by Marquise Brown. He's not running it vertically like Watkins' route was, which we would call a climb route. And they're going to throw it over the top of this corner who's dealing with Mark Andrews pretty much man-to-man. I would say it's a Louis or a solo call. And Marquise Brown's wide open, running the over concept, deep over concept. All right, so that's one way that they attacked a one high safety structure. Conceptually, Greg Roman does it a number of ways. Here's the corner to the top side of the screen again. You're going to get the same concept, except this time the climb route is going to be run by Mark Andrews. He's going to get kind of redirected by the strong safety and inside linebacker. Foye Oluokun, they kind of funnel him in, and the inside linebacker on the other side of the screen is there to play it. Lamar maybe overthrows it by a little bit, but also Mark Andrews' route. Again, he kind of veers inside to get away from the strong safety and then dodges the inside linebacker twice. So it slowed up his route progression, and maybe that's why Lamar threw it over a little bit over his head. Who knows? Point is, that's how Greg Roman attacked it. One way. He had a method to do that. It was effective at times. I'm showing you film examples of it here. Another way is just the old classic run 2 verticals from 2 seam routes and read the free safety. Whichever way he goes to, you throw it to the other side. Now, this guy does a pretty good job of trying to play divider technique. He's got Pat Ricard running out into the flats, so I understand if you want to say, well, you can just leave that open and let him throw the football. That's not the read. The read is this free safety. You can see that his alignment was over to the side, number 1. Anyway, number 2, he did hedge over to that side. And if we rewind it just a second, you'll even see Mark Andrews kind of cut his route off some because he's looking right at the free safety. He knows the ball's not going to be thrown to him. Ends up being just off of Josh Oliver's fingertips. I think it's a ball that he would say he should catch and a ball that maybe Lamar would say he should throw 6 inches lower, even though there was possibly someone in the window. All right, another one high safety look. Same concept, up to the top. Going to give the corner something to deal with, which is, I believe, a route by, I think that's Isaiah Likely up there. Very similar to the one you saw Oliver run. And then Devin Duvernay is going to run the climb concept over the top of that level. It's like a 3 deep, 2 under coverage, one of the ones that I hate the most. But this is how Greg Roman attacked cover 3, man-free defenses, how he was able to give Lamar, quick reads to get rid of the ball, read one guy, get rid of the ball, decide where to throw it. Okay, another way, RPOs. Now, this is a cool play. They're not actually putting the third-level defender. Third-level defender, I'm saying, is the corners or the free safety, even though this corner's lined up at the same level as the linebackers because it's a 5-3 look. Greg Roman was putting the second-level defenders in conflict by having motion and 2 routes going to the bottom side of the screen. Offense is left, defense is right. And then the running back crossing face to the opposite direction. So he's given 2 levels of bait in opposite directions and then running, of course, the RPO in behind him. You can see Lamar decides not to throw it to the flats, brings it to Duvernay. Great catch by Duve underneath the safety level. Consistently, the Ravens were able to utilize these concepts against cover 3 to attack third-level defenders or use the RPO that I just showed you. Okay, man free. This is the Ravens coaching early in the season 2023. This is the Ravens coaching staff's go-to against man free, which was let's find who's guarding Devin Duvernay and let's go to him. Example from week 1, first touchdown of the season, I believe. Great throw on a third down by Lamar to Devin Duvernay against the weakest man-to-man corner that the Jets had on the field at that time. Pretty good player relatively, but compared to Ahmad Gardner, Reed, and some of the other guys they had out there covering, wasn't as effective. You can see the efficiency that's here. Third down again. Duve is up top. Duve is up top on a third down, just beating the guy defending him, going outside leverage, bringing it back in. Quick, boom. Ravens are good at this. All right, what are they not good at? My opinion, and if you've listened this long, hopefully you want to hear it, is they're not good and haven't been good against too high safety structures. Like the Bengals, Bills, Broncos, in some ways other teams have used to give the Ravens different looks in terms of post-snap coverages, but pre-snap make everything look the same. So this is going to be a series of plays from the 2021 playoff game, and you'll just denote or notice the too high safety structure prior to each snap. I think I could be wrong about some of the half-field coverages. Some of them might just be hard-coded coverages, meaning quarter, half, cover 2. But the point is these are teams that are able to get that safety involved in the run game. Now, in this case, you also do have a tight end, a fullback, and a 6th offensive lineman over here. You're kind of in the back on the other side. So you're kind of giving away your intentions. That's one of the things I do not expect Todd Monken to do, meaning be that predictable about lining up in a formation and basically giving the defense the answers to the question before they even take the test. Another too high safety structure, same possession, I believe. Two examples coming up actually of the Ravens running the ball effectively against a too high safety look. For me, in my opinion, this is the game that kind of changed some of the dynamic of defending Greg Roman's offense, meaning let's get in a too high safety look, keep everything in front, make Lamar have to hesitate for a second in determining his reads when it is a pass play. Now, where it had trouble was certain down and distances, the quarterback run game, because you've removed 2 safeties, 2 corners from the box. So, yes, you only have a 7-man front. That one of the Bills' answers, and it didn't always work, one of the Bengals' answers as well was to walk 2 of the inside linebackers up from a 4-3 look, basically create a 6-1. One of the safeties, I believe it's 21, is basically operating off of a run read. I think he's reading Pat Ricard, so you'll see Ricard's motion or post-snap, Ricard go to the top side, and 21 matches it, doesn't see the pulling guard at all. It doesn't matter. Lamar's able to pick up like a 9-yard gain. My point is showing you this is the game for me that established that a too high safety look could be used to slow down or stop the run game when you want to, particularly near the red zone. And I think it gave Greg Roman issues because he couldn't generate big plays consistently, often. He couldn't generate big plays against that too high safety look. This is when the multiplicity or being able to operate from this platform gives people options. You have this motion by Marquise Brown, and the corner is going to come on a blitz because to the boundary, they're going to let this inside linebacker go cover the receiver. That's not a statement against Marquise Brown. It's just saying the Bills are able to do this and roll the safety over the top because they're operating from a too high safety structure. They can kind of obscure their intentions pre-snap and make Lamar's processing after the ball snapped, in that 1.5 to 2 seconds after the ball snapped, make his processing slow down and give him things that maybe he wasn't expecting to see. In my opinion, Todd Monken is going to have to and will design plays that attack defenses downfield, attack those third-level defenders, reverse the question. Instead of putting the confusion in the quarterback's head, which is the point of all defense, it'll be to put the confusion in these guys' heads and threaten them with something that's deep down the field. It's not that simple to me as saying the Ravens didn't have guys who could do that. In my opinion, there's plenty of times, well, you can see the route delineation here. We have 3 guys covered up well in this zone, 1 guy open, but that's not where Lamar's read began. My point is, attacking the too high safety look in this way was never going to get these teams out of this look. It was never going to dissuade them from getting in this look. You stop doing something when you're forced to do so, especially at the level of professional athletics that we're talking about, the highest level of football that there is. It's a third down, where it looks like there's going to be a max blitz and the Bills are going to drop people out. Basically play a Tampa 2. No one gets open. This is J.K. who fell down, ends up dropping the ball down here on a great play by Lamar. But the point overall is no one appears to be open. I mean, we do end up with Boykin open here, I think, down at the bottom side of the screen, if I remember the play correct, because it's a cover 2 in the corner released him. Lamar's unable to find him because of all the chaos. In my opinion, this is where Monken will have to be not just one level better than Greg Roman, multiple levels better than Greg Roman. Some recent examples, 2022 against two high safety structure. I think I will have one example from 2021 here. You can see the routes as they're distributed. These two safeties cover them up. Greg Roman wasn't able to design plays that gave Lamar and the offense and the receivers more than one or maybe two options. We oftentimes ended up settling for throws in the flat late or three-step concepts that made our passing game look rudimentary. 2021, Bengals with that classic defensive performance they put on in Week 7. I know the Ravens scored 20 or 21 points, but Bengals defense really showed what they were about. This is another way that he tried to attack third-level defenders. Basically, take Duvernay, run a vertical right at the safety, occupy that safety with Duvernay so you could get this wheel by Marquise Brown up the sideline, isolated against the corner who was playing the flat. So it's open. It's there. I think Marquise Brown actually catches the ball. It ends up being thrown maybe a yard or two out of bounds. We were not able to consistently threaten these defenses deep in a way that dissuaded them from playing some of these coverages. Nor were we, at least against the Bengals, able to run the, well, up till the playoff game, the playoff loss, able to run the ball consistently enough to kind of force them to get out of these looks. Here's another one. This is either a flyer by Lamar, what some people say, or I think he intentionally throws it out of bounds because no one's open. There's a linebacker in the window and a DB playing over the top. I'll let you watch the routes develop again in slow motion. My apologies. Sorry about that. All right, let's watch the routes run again in slow motion. You can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a Woozy to carry Bateman up the sideline and then Brown on the deeper out. And the Ravens can't get a connection there. 2021, two high safety structure against the Vikings. If you remember in the second half, how were the Ravens able to get things going? It was late into the flats to Patrick Ricard. The design of this play, if you ask me, is such that these two guys are just trying to clear out areas. And I believe Bateman's supposed to run onto this open space somewhere between the hash and the top of the numbers on the bottom side of our screen. Lamar chooses to get the ball out to Ricard. This was one of the Ricard drives that season, if you remember. I think he had 4 catches, including a touchdown catch on 4th down. Ravens consistently against two high looks, when we utilized Lamar in the run game, we were able to capitalize on that against certain teams. The Bengals, the Bills, and others, the run game by Lamar just did not destroy them. It would sometimes annoy them, but it wouldn't dissuade them from playing these looks. All right, some other examples against two high safety looks in 2022, just so some of the people who say the Ravens didn't see these looks can see more examples of them. This one, I believe the Ravens are again attacking a second-level player. I don't believe they're giving this guy really any bad choice. They're attacking Foye Oluokun, running Deshaun Jackson on this deeper curl. I think the ball's out slightly late, maybe a half second late, split second late, quarter second late. Also the pass coverage down here. I think this is Arden Key winning, getting around the edge against Macari. Deshaun Jackson gets a big hit right as he's catching the ball. I think that ball was just out a quarter of a second late. Good throw right on the hands. Tried to attack with the run game at times in the playoff game with Tyler Huntley. Were unable to really punish them with Huntley. Can't keep the safeties from getting involved because you're not threatening them with anything at the third level. All right, in my opinion, one of the things that Monken will do to give these safeties something to think about if he does want to run the ball is he'll run this number one at the safety as if he's going to block him and leave the corner unblocked. Now, look, CTB is a good tackler. He's a physical guy. So he may make that play anyway. But point being, he's going to try to close off some of that inside-out pursuit by a safety to give the quarterback possibly another lane. Or if the ball's given to a running back, make the corner have to tackle an NFL starting caliber running back. And we've got two good ones. Don't really need much explanation for this play. This is the failed fourth down. I feel like the Ravens pass game against two high safety structures just never did a great job of attacking third level players. This is one play that is well designed, and you'd like to see the ball thrown over here in the corner, but it wasn't consistent enough. The over concept that the Ravens used a shit ton of would be covered up by the safeties. The play that I showed you where early against one high safety structures, where they would bait a corner into throwing over the top of him, that would normally get covered up as well by a safety. The two high safety structure just gave so many options to the defense. Now, this is a corner out here playing over number one. I think Deshaun Jackson and Foye Oluokun happens to be in the way. Now, I want to point this out. I talked about this after that game. Foye Oluokun, I think, had 18 tackles. Look at the alignment that he's got. Stacked twins. Motion by Ricard over here. Should be a run play over here by the tendencies. They know something. Watch Oluokun get directly underneath of the route by Deshaun Jackson. Coverage is somewhat breaking down here. I think you've got enough time to throw the football if Foye Oluokun isn't in the window. I mean, he's directly in the window for where Lamar's trying to throw this football. I don't think the pass game was varied enough, and I think it was constricted and limited, not just by the design, but by the two high safety structure and by our inability to attack it. All right, let's look at, I think, two examples, maybe three of other teams attacking two high safety structure. Watch the funnel that's created by the Bengals. I mean, they've got a funnel here of two receivers at the top side of the screen, basically running through the same funnel. Why? Well, if it's cover two, whether it's hard corner cover two, these guys are on the line of scrimmage, or palms two read, whatever, you're kind of funneling those guys into the safety. Well, the Bengals are like, okay, no problem. You can't cover both of them. Simultaneous to that, the bottom side of the screen, Jamar Chase, look at Jamar Chase's route as I slow-mo this. He's forcing that safety to expand. He's forcing this safety to the downside of the screen to expand a little bit towards the top of the numbers. Why? It's all designed for Joe Burrow to throw this vertical. Now, I cherry-pick some of these plays, and it's, you know, if you point that out, it's no problem. I did pick plays to make my point. I believe that my point is correct. It's no problem in the same way as some of these other teams. I'll show you an unsuccessful version here, but it's two high safety structure by the Jets against the Lions, and they're going to run, it's somewhat similar to the one I just showed you. They're going to run this tight end, and he's going to force this safety to go in this direction. Okay, maybe not as abrupt as that line there. It's all because the Lions know that this is a Meg or man everywhere he goes call, and it's a slightly underthrown ball. There's also a little bit of a hold somewhere around here, around the 30. Maybe it's a push off as well. Ball ends up being underthrown, tipped by the DB's left hand, I think, and what looked like it would have been a clear touchdown. My point is, two high safety look, and NFL teams attacking it downfield. Where would the Ravens attack a two high safety look? They'd run snag flat, or they'd get the ball out to Ricard late into the flats and get, 6, 8, 10 yards maybe. Another way to attack it, now pre-snap, it's a one high safety look. The Patriots are going to rotate to, I think, a Tampa 2. And they're going to attack downfield down here to the bottom side with George Pickens. Well, the Ravens didn't have any big receivers like this. I mean, with Shamar Bridges, yeah. Beautiful throw, obviously, by Trubisky, I think. And great catch by Pickens on the sideline. Not even sure if it counted. I think it did. Point is, we didn't even do those things. We didn't throw the ball over the top of a corner. When we were able to successfully attack two high safety structure, it was often out in the flats. Now, this ends up being a little bit late, in my opinion. Ball should be out a little bit sooner. Lamar looks like he's trying to fake to Duvernay out in the flats. It's a second and long, so he wants more than just this. There's just nothing there. The Bengals are able to cover it up and slow down the run enough that they could keep nickel personnel on the field or stay in a two high safety look. 2021 against the Vikings, another two high safety look. And you got snagged flat. This is one of the ways the Ravens successfully attacked it. You're going to get a chip, I believe, here. This might be Tyson Williams. I could be wrong. You're going to get a chip on the D end, and he's going to release in the flats, reading the second-level defender, which is Bates, throwing the ball to Bateman, complete, on a little curl. Barr, not Bates, sorry. All right. So 2022, Are we going to see the same pass concepts? No. These are Greg Roman's answers for one high safety look. These are Greg Roman's answers for two high safety look. I think we're going to see different route combinations. These aren't Lamar Jackson pass concepts. These are the pass concepts Lamar Jackson tried to execute because Greg Roman was his offensive coordinator. The Bucs are in like a 4 shell. Could be anything here. Basically, I got 4 across, but it's not sticks blitz 0. And the Ravens are running what to me looks like it could be just a play fake, not an RPO, because there's no lineman really getting downfield. That was one of the answers that the Ravens consistently tried to utilize. Stuff out here. Stuff out here. I don't think they attacked enough here. Well, you're like, well, there's a safety lined up there. Then you have to do things to manipulate him. Sometimes it's your quarterback looking him off. There are a lot of safeties that look right at Lamar's eyes, and they look for where he looks, and they go. And in my opinion, that's one of the things that Greg Roman's got that Greg Roman did not utilize as an opportunity to manipulate the defense. This is a Z-hide concept to the top. I think you've got Demarcus Robinson late at the top side of the screen. I'll run it a couple of times so you guys can see it. Duvernay's open, 8, 9, 10-yard gain, something like that, up to the top side. Watch Demarcus Robinson's route at the top. Turns Von Bell around. If we had time, which I understand that we did not necessarily because Trey Hendrickson is there, we got Ricard blocking him on the edge, you're going to get an opportunity to throw this ball late. Lamar's just got to get time to get his feet under him. Not necessarily sure that he was going to have that. It would have had to be what some people call an anticipation throw, throwing it before he's open because he was clearly going to have them beat vertically. All right, so you guys let me know what you think of some of my thoughts. This is back to the one high safety structure look, sorry. Some of my thoughts. I do not think the Ravens are going to see all the same coverages early. In my opinion, they're going to see similar coverage looks early because people aren't going to know what Todd Monken wants to do in certain situations. They knew what Greg Roman wanted to do in certain situations, meaning personnel groups and formations. Early on, I think Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson's task will be to change the coverage dynamic if they can, manipulate the coverage if they can, either through routes that threaten more downfield, put safeties in conflict better. Hopefully I was able to show you that even just the 2 examples I did, the Lions and the Bengals, put the safety in conflict, basically made him choose one route and then attacked him with the other route. Now, in the Bengals example against the Falcons, obviously the safety fell down. He was still going to be beat, in my opinion. I'm not sure that after week 2, the Ravens' coverage dynamic doesn't change. What I mean is Lou Anarumo and the Bengals defensive staff, they're going to put a good look out there. However much film there is from the preseason with the Ravens in week 1 against the Texans, Lou Anarumo and that Bengals staff, they're going to put a good look out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if even during week 2, Lou goes away from some too high safety looks if he feels like he needs to. In my opinion, Todd Monken is going to still attack horizontally, not necessarily the way I just showed you, though. To me, he likes quick screens, bubble screens, some RPOs, don't get me wrong. He's going to force the safeties to worry about horizontal threats and vertical threats. And to me, Greg Roman really didn't do either of those except for with the RPO in terms of the horizontal threat against too high safety structured defenses. There wasn't enough of a vertical threat from the offense, even with the routes that were just run. And when there was opportunities to throw the ball a little bit later if the pass pro held up, number 1, or number 2, in the case of the Duvernay play that I showed you on what I called Z-hide. If the second time they came back to it, Lamar was coached, hey, we want you to look for the vertical this time. I don't think the Ravens did a great job of that at all. In fact, I think they did a very poor job of setting up, using a play in the first quarter or the second quarter to set up a play in the third quarter from the same formation, same look, same down and distance. That's one of the pieces, I guess you'd call it situational awareness or adjustments, that I think the Ravens were the weakest at. And when you combine that with our inability to maintain a consistent passing offense against too high safety structures, it kind of, like, to me, removed a lot of options from the playbook. Made the Ravens look even more limited than they were. You guys let me know what you think. If I've given you enough evidence that too high safety structures bothered the Ravens, limited the pass game, removed options from the playbook, made things look constricted. Sure, 22 personnel at times, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, made things look constricted, all packed in, no problem. But were you to run a spread offense, I wonder about Greg Roman's ability with the passing concepts to threaten 2 high safety structures, even from spread looks. I think that's going to be Todd Monken's task, Lamar Jackson's task. Their first one is to show people, hey, we're a different team. I believe they're a totally different offense already, even as it stands mid-May 2023. I believe they're a totally different offense right now. But installs have got to happen. Drills have got to happen. I heard a really cool comment on the radio today about ones against ones. We'll find out in training camp when our defense is going against our offense, because our defense likes to run a lot of 2 high safety structure, spin down sometimes into cover 3, or just play quarters, split field coverages, whatever, Mike McDonald calls them. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Part 2 of looking at the Ravens pass game, specifically against split field, quarters, 2 high safety structures. The teams we've had the most trouble with, for me, as a fan watching, and even statistically you can look at it. Bills, Bengals, to a lesser extent the Broncos, at times the Titans. Browns at home last year as well. Trying to figure out a way to keep the run game intact under Todd Monken as best we can, and then attack 2 high safety structures consistently downfield at the 3rd level, put safeties in conflict so they aren't as flat-footed and getting involved with the run game so they have some type of threat downfield because of the route combinations, the way the pass game is designed, set Lamar Jackson up to succeed. In my opinion, if Todd Monken can do some of those things, I think he sets Lamar and the offense up for a career year. Let me know what you guys think of the video. If you appreciate it, if you thought it was enjoyable, if you enjoy the commentary, checking out the film, please consider sharing a link on social media to help the video get more reach. Give me ideas for what you think I should do with part 3 of this. I have my own opinion, but I'd like to hear what other people want to say first.